3.
Commence primary ignition. Primary ignition.
This is the way. This is the way. I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
What is up, all of you Ugnaughts and Jawas out there, and welcome back to yet again another episode of Mando Talk. And joining me again this week is none other than DJ Foster at Rebel Scum Texan. Here, there, everywhere. What is up, my man?
I'm just playing with my hat. I don't know what to do with my hat right now. I feel like if I do this, it looks bad. If I do this, it's too casual. I think I'm going to rock it backwards tonight.
There you go. Hey,
we'll see how it goes.
Back, rock back. We're going to have a lot of fun as we talk about the Star Wars news this week. But you just held up a Jawa, man. Show that to our YouTube audience.
It's actually my AirPod case.
Oh, very fancy. Very fancy.
It came with a little carabiner here, which I don't actually recommend using the carabiner for traveling purposes. I feel like it'll fall off of any kind of keychain you might have.
Sure.
Really cool. AirPods go in there. It's great. So it's a fun little doodad. And actually, just a little fun fact about each AirPod. Okay. This one is named Echo 3, and this one is named Echo 7. So Echo 3 and Echo 7, and then inside my Jawa is Echo Base. So
there you go.
Just having some fun with my devices is all that was.
No, that's just pure cleverness. Now, tonight, we are going to discuss all the recent Star Wars news. But if you're not watching live, that's fine. You know, we'll continue to do podcast platforms. You can watch us on the playback. But I do have a couple of updates. Number one, we are going to start going live at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube. So if you want to catch us talking about this stuff live, please check us out at 7 o'clock at night every Tuesday for Geekverse Reactions and every Thursday for Mando Talk. So I wanted to make that aware, or I wanted to make you aware of that, our lovely listeners. Second announcement is I want to get back into doing like Mando mini talks. I did those a lot there for a while because I think they're convenient for the viewer to just get the shorter kind of news pieces for the ones that they're most interested in. So we're going to do that for Geekverse Reactions. We'll have the shorter highlights, if you will, drop on Wednesday. And then on Friday, we will have our Mando mini talks or just our Mando talk highlights drop. And those are YouTube exclusive kind of things. So if you want your just basic news segments and you only have some here and there that you're interested in, that way that's easy for you to watch, easy for you to chill and just view and listen to our thoughts on those things. DJ, you want to add anything to that? I've lost you again. I can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear
you.
There
muted.
You go.
I had it
there
muted.
You go.
That was on me. That was on me. I mute the microphone when I try to get a drink. That way I don't get none of this right here. Some
Fair
ASMR water bottle for everybody out there. No, I just want to add one small thing. Nothing major. Well, it depends how you look at it. I want to shout out to my little sister. It's her 25th birthday today. So happy birthday, Savannah. Happy birthday to her.
Happy birthday, Savannah.
Many, many more. And that's the only thing I have to say. But so moving away from that, we have Geekverse on Tuesdays, which is great. But my bread and butter is Star Wars.
It is.
I think it's
definitely.
Like Geekverse is like my chips and salsa. It comes out before I get my enchiladas.
Yeah, there you go.
My enchiladas is Mando Talk. And if you have never had an enchilada and you're listening, just come on down to Texas. We'll show you the gloriousness. I will show you the gloriousness of an enchilada, a good one. Okay. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. So
all right.
Let's go. Let's get going.
Yeah, let's do this. Okay. Star Wars news. We, like DJ has alluded to, we've got tons to get to, but we're going to try to respectfully, spend our time on each one. But we're going to keep in mind that, we value your time and, we try to stick to that hour and no more than. But we'll see. We'll see. So bear with us.
We'll
just have fun with us. And we can't wait to discuss these things. So first news piece. Here we go. James Newton Howard reveals that a docuseries about George Lucas and ILM is in the works and will be directed by none other than Lawrence Kasdan. Big time news there. This came out of the blue for me, if you will. Howard revealed this on Score the Podcast, so super cool. Great job by Score the Podcast. And Howard revealed that he's the one that scored the docuseries, so it seems like, this would be pretty credible information coming from this guy. And he also revealed that it would be 6 episodes. So let me, just to start this conversation, if you will, DJ, obviously I know that you are the behind the scenes lover.
Oh, yeah.
So how much does this excite you?
As soon as I read it, I was like, Lawrence Kasdan is directing a series about George Lucas. I thought, there's not really anybody else better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't think there's many other people better suited to direct a series documenting George Lucas's career, life. I have no idea what this is, because I read an article from Collider that talked about this, and it doesn't really give a whole lot of details other than it's Lawrence Kasdan directing, which, in case for those of you who aren't familiar, Lawrence Kasdan, writer of Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
He helped write Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote Solo with his son, John Kasdan.
Mm-hmm.
And he's actually helping Lucasfilm oversee the Willow project right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a lot of really cool tie-ins to Lucasfilm here. That's why I say there's nobody better than Larry Kasdan to show you something about George Lucas's life. And on top of that, James Newton Howard, to what you said just a moment ago, Caleb, I would consider him a very credible source.
Yeah.
This guy has been around the Hollywood world for a long time. He helped Hans Zimmer work on Gladiator, which I actually listened to that soundtrack today. It's a classic soundtrack. It's fantastic. In fact, the 20th anniversary just hit Spotify not too long ago. So if you're looking for some solid cinematic music, Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard got together and worked on Gladiator.
Sure.
And if I'm not mistaken, James Newton Howard also helped Hans Zimmer on at least one of the Dark Knight trilogies. And I'm actually I've just now pulled up his filmography just to give you an idea, okay, who this guy is. He's a Grammy Award recipient and an Emmy Award recipient and 9 Academy Award nominations. If you don't really get a better source for some decent documentary type news than a guy who's scored some other movies, and big ones at that, not to mention The Fugitive with Harrison Ford, Space Jam, King Kong, The Dark Knight, and he's just been a part of a lot of other series as well. So This is a very credible source to me. I am through the roof excited about what this series could deliver for us, and it makes me very happy. And I also like the picture you chose of George Lucas there for our YouTube viewers, because I believe that is a prequel trilogy George Lucas behind the camera.
Yes,
so
indeed
always,
it is.
Always see, I got this behind the scenes stuff on lock. It's kind of annoying for most people, but now it's coming in hot.
No, I don't know as much behind the scenes stuff as it seems like you do. So it's great to have, your perspective on it, because really all I feel like I can add to this is that I'm just excited to get more information about George Lucas and the mind that he has, because again, we've talked about this before. Whether you like it or not, Hollywood's not the same if it wasn't for George Lucas. So
Absolutely.
It's going to be super cool to see this docuseries, if you will. And 2 questions that I have. First question, should we expect to see this on Disney Plus?
I don't know. And here's the thing. Initially, I read a different article this morning, and I wish I could remember which article. And I say this morning, I mean yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long day, everybody. But at the same time, I don't know. And I wanted to say no flat out whenever I was going through the show notes this morning and trying to figure out, do I really think it'll come to Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Then I read the Collider article about this, and at the very bottom, it says nobody's picked it up yet. And so I find that interesting that there aren't people out there trying to pick up information about George Lucas, because there's a lot there. And you guys got to remember, he kind of isn't in the public eye a whole lot. In fact, the last time, he was really in the public eye was when he visited some random museum, I think, in like Los Angeles or Chicago, some major city.
I think.
Chicago, yeah. And so beyond that, he's not out and about a whole lot. So it's just, he kind of is an elusive genius. He's just kind of away a lot of the time. And I would just love it if somebody would hurry up and pick this up. And if it's not Disney Plus, I imagine it could go to like Netflix. But, then again, I feel like that would be a betrayal for his buddy Steven Spielberg, who hates all the streaming stuff.
Sure.
So, maybe it'll land on an actual TV channel. I don't know. But
yeah,
for now, I'm just going to stick with I don't know, and anything's fine.
Okay.
Me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. For me, I guess when I read that question and was reading on the articles that I saw, I think it's Disney Plus or nothing. But I could be wrong. Again, I don't know all the behind the scenes details. And to my next question here, with any predictions with release date, I think if Disney Plus does pick it up, and if they're going to include maybe Indiana Jones details in this, I think they could release it to hype up Indiana Jones 5 on Disney Plus and just get people going with not just Star Wars, but just Lucasfilm in general. Because I think some movie-going audience forgets sometimes that Indiana Jones comes from George Lucas's mind as well as Spielberg and all those different people that have impacted Star Wars. So I think, if that's just my mental marketing brain going, if they wanted to do that, I think they could go that route. But again, we don't even know if it's coming to Disney Plus. So what say you, DJ, to finish this off?
I have no clue when this will release. I can't even begin to speculate when it will release because, again, George Lucas is elusive. He's a lot like Yoda in a lot of ways. He just kind of hangs out in his hut wherever it is. I imagine it's like I don't know. I don't guess it's like a swamp because the dude's from California. He's probably chilling on a beach. I would if I was him. I'd chill on the beach as often as I could. But I have no idea when this is coming out. But it doesn't, like I said a minute ago, it doesn't matter when it comes out. It doesn't matter where it drops. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna find a way to watch it. Short of piracy, I'm gonna find a way to watch it.
Sure.
And I'm just excited about it because it's George Lucas, it's Lawrence Kasdan,
right?
It's James Newton Howard. It's a good time.
Right. Yeah. We
All
definitely
the ingredients for a good time.
We just want to see George again, and regardless of where this comes, when it comes. If it comes, we'll be there to check it out. You let us know, though, all of our listeners. Let us know in the live chat if you're watching live. Let us know in the comments if you're watching back on the playback. Or let us know in Discord if you are listening on our podcast platforms. Next up on our news piece, or news segment, next up on our episode, I just put The Mandalorian. There's 3 different things with The Mandalorian that we could talk about on this episode. And here's the first. The show this past weekend won 7 Creative Arts Emmys this past weekend. I just said that. Now, here are the 7, and I'm just going to ask, do any of these stand out to you, DJ? First one, sure. Outstanding prosthetic makeup, outstanding cinematography for a single camera series, outstanding sound mixing for a comedy or drama series, outstanding music composition for a series, outstanding special visual effects in a season or a movie, outstanding stunt coordination, and outstanding stunt performance. Wow, that is a long list, a great list.
Yeah.
I hope whenever we get to, the main Emmy show, the main awards, I hope The Mandalorian keeps racking them in because season 2 well deserves it. But like I said, DJ, let me go back to that question. Any of those stand out to you?
They all technically, to be perfectly fair, they all stand out, but there were certain things about them that I wanted to point out.
Okay, go for it.
That I thought were just really cool. 2 of these awards were given to a Dave Filoni directed episode.
Ooh,
that would be Ahsoka, the Jedi, chapter 13.
Yeah.
And I'll let you guys research it for sake of time, but 2 of these awards go to Dave Filoni's directed episode, which is just mind-boggling because this man comes from animation.
Right.
Not from the typical film background where you go through film school and you go up the ranks kind of like George Lucas and Spielberg did. It's not like that. So I thought that was really big and a major standout moment. I thought it was a major standout award. The second thing I noticed, and there's only 3, I'll be quick.
Okay.
2 of these awards were given to chapter 16, which I believe we can thank nostalgia for because that's the rescue. That's when Luke Skywalker shows up. That's when Din Djarin has his showdown with Moff Gideon. and which is just all of that into one episode. It's kind of hard to believe it's one episode because I almost end chapter 16 at Din walking in with Moff Gideon, and then a new chapter begins when the X-Wing flies in. It's kind of how I view it. So to me, it's just one of these action-packed things. So that's 4 awards for 2 episodes right there. And then the odd one to me is the one that won outstanding cinematography. And what I mean by odd is this is the episode with the heist sequence with Mayfield and Mando, where they go in there. And I thought that was interesting because why would that one have won the award for outstanding cinematography? I thought that was kind of different. I thought that was kind of odd. And so I kind of briefly skimmed the episode today, and I can only really narrow it down to 2 moments where I thought this comes down to pure cinematography. That is, of course, the heist on the transport. It's almost like your typical train heist from an old cowboy movie, which is very Mandalorian, if we're being honest, which that's a great sequence. But I'm like, is that the sequence that's worthy of an award like that? And it's either, and then the other sequence, I thought maybe it was this. It's that conversation in that cafeteria between that officer, Mayfield, and Mando. And I think if they're going to give an award like that to something, it's going to be to that moment. And because that moment is cinema, that is cinematography at some of its finest. So for me, that's kind of my takeaways on these awards and what they mean. I think overall, it's just great that this show keeps winning awards, and I hope that it keeps winning awards. And if it continues to win awards, then that just means more and more awesome Star Wars stuff down the pipe.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the big one that it's up for is Best Drama Series. We'll see. It's got some pretty tough competition
you
to
know
face.
The competition off the top of your head?
Queen's Gambit, The Boys, are just 2 that I just could think of right now. Oh, no, I don't think WandaVision is in that list. But those 2 are the ones that The Crown, yes, it's on there. A lot of good shows.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
tough.
It's gonna be tough for it to win that category. But regardless, it's great to see these type of awards being presented and put out there because, not to sound negative, but to the normal viewers, these people behind all of this are the quote unquote, I guess you could say, little guys, like people you don't notice. But it's great to see all of these individuals that do so much for this galaxy that we love to get recognition because, like I said, they're usually not the ones that get the recognition. So congrats to every single individual involved. And I will, again, just bow to DJ's analysis there. He did a phenomenal job. I would just say the music composition, just to give shout out to Ludwig. I always mess up his last name.
I don't know how to say it either.
Goranson or something. I don't know. Regardless, tremendous talent. I can't wait to continue to see his work in, I don't know, is he doing Book of Boba Fett? Do we know who's doing Book of Boba Fett?
That's a good question.
Because I would love for them to keep, like, the Mandoverse has kind of like the same score feels, if you will. But I wouldn't be like, just, it has to be him. I'm not like that.
No.
But
I'm not just attached at the hip to him or anything, but it would make the most sense for him to be there. I hope that they choose him. He's my number 1 pick right now, which is that's a weird statement in and of itself because 3 years ago I would have said John Williams or nothing, but Ludwig has just killed it with The Mandalorian. And so I would love to see him in Book of Boba and other projects as well.
Yeah. Well, all right. Next thing that we've got here for The Mandalorian is a rumor. The Mandalorian will begin filming season 3 from September 20th to March 23rd. And the source on this is the Production Weekly. To be honest, I've never really heard of the Production Weekly, but this kind of gets backed up with what Carl Weathers said a couple weeks ago about how they were fixing to start shooting. Giancarlo Esposito even recently was saying they're fixing to start shooting, and they don't really need Pedro. He threw that line in there too. But regardless, it's exciting to see that this thing is finally going to meet cameras. Lenses are going to be shooting on all of these characters that we have come to know and love. I can't wait. I think, and I've been on this train for a while, I think this is verification that we are indeed getting this show in the fall/winter months of 2022, which again is definitely my preference. I know we want it. I know we want it as soon as we can get it. But I think I tweeted this out this past week. The Mandalorian goes hand in hand with pumpkin spice lattes, Thanksgiving dinners, Christmas, opening up presents. There's a baby Yoda under the tree for a little kid. All of that stuff for me now goes hand in hand. So that release frame gets me the most excited. But what say you, DJ? What are your thoughts on all of this stuff?
First of all, I want to shout out to Rural Farm Boy in the chat. He wants to kind of throw it back just a second to the awards. He's saying there are so many people behind the scenes telling these Star Wars stories. You alluded to that, Caleb.
Yeah.
We couldn't agree more. Rural Farm Boy, thanks for being here. And on top of what we were just talking about, I'm with you. I love that it comes out in the fall because I remember I was talking to my cousin a while back, and he was like, man, is there a new Star Wars movie this year? And it was one of those years where there wasn't one.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, it's not coming this year, but we've got, Mandalorians, coming up and stuff like, and I was telling him stuff like that. And he was like, okay, I feel like Star Wars is like a Christmas movie now where, you go just back a few years, it's less than 20 years ago. It's like, oh, that's a summertime movie. It's a summertime blockbuster. But like, I've kind of grown into this, like, the fall and the winter, that's the time for Star Wars content. And not to say that I didn't like Bad Batch, and I'm not looking forward to Star Wars Visions because I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved Bad Batch, but it's right with this live action content that we've been getting. I prefer it in the fall and the winter. And the fact that it could come out in next fall, I think makes all the sense in the world, because you got to remember with this behind the scenes type stuff, while they're filming, there's other stuff going on at Lucasfilm and behind the scenes at wherever they edit. I would like to think they do this stuff at Skywalker Ranch. There's no telling where they do all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot that goes into this show and other shows as well, just like this. So, and they've got Ahsoka going on, behind the scenes as well. And a lot of other stuff too. And Kenobi, and Andor. And so all that to say, I think that this is really good verification. I think that we've had a director and an actor now, and a director/actor, I should say, come in there and say, hey, it's coming. And even Zach Horvath, welcome Zach Horvath, jumps in the chat and says, hey, it's going to be in winter 2022. And Rural Farm Boy is just right on with him and us. So yeah, I think we're all tonight saying it's coming next year.
Yeah.
And it's coming full force, and it's going to be fantastic. And I agree with you especially about the scarves and the pumpkin spice latte, and you get your flannel on. Flannel and Mando. That's a combo.
Hashtag flannel and Mando.
And Mando. There it is.
Let's go. Okay.
That's all I got to say about it.
One final thing with the Mandalorian. I told you there's a lot. There's a lot with the. I love to see it. I love to see it. Katie Sackhoff recently was discussed. I don't know exactly who she was discussing. I think it was Slash Film. I might be.
Slash Film.
Okay, good. Thank goodness I got that right. She teases that there could be quote unquote unfinished business between Bo and Din Djarin. I will say this though. Come on. I mean, obviously, there's unfinished business between these two. Like, that was her whole arc in season 2 was to try to get the Darksaber back. And now that Din Djarin is the rightful owner of said saber, of course there's some unfinished business. Now, she did not confirm that we're getting that unfinished business. That's her as one of us, as a fan, saying that, man, it would be really cool to see that unfinished business. Like, come on now.
I call BS on that. I'm just saying there's no way that, come on. This is my new word for our streaming. Everybody's being cheeky. I'm tired of this cheeky.
Where you at, Blue Harvest Bricks?
Yeah, come on, Blue Harvest Bricks. Jump in here. But I'm just like, everybody just keeps being real cheeky. Like, oh, I might not be in it. At Liam Neeson. Oh,
at Andrew Garfield.
At Andrew Garfield, at Katie Sackhoff, at Carl Weathers. Everybody's just like at Tobey Maguire. At this point, I'm just like, come on. Just, there's an old phrase, and it's a little PG-13 of a phrase, but I'm going to say it. Piss or get off the pot. Come on. I mean, just own up to what you're doing, because at a certain point, you just have to jump on the horse and ride. I'm just calling BS. She's in it. They're going to fight. I'm looking forward to 2022.
Me too. I can't wait to see it. But you know what? Those of you out there, let us know. Do you think we see this quote unquote unfinished can't get that out. Unfinished business. Do we see it? Now, I guess to play devil's advocate, we don't have to see it in season 3. It could just be, further down the line. But I think it naturally makes sense to see it in season 3 because Katie Sackhoff's character, Bo, is not going to just sit back and let that sit. She's going to do something about it.
That's why it's going to happen in season 3.
Yeah. All right. We'll see.
That's why it's going to happen in season 3.
We shall see. We shall
Dying
see.
on that hill. Dying
All
on
right.
it.
Fair enough. Okay. Next
Fair
on
enough.
the news is Star Wars Visions. Man, I'll be honest with you. I forgot that this comes out next week. Next week.
Man,
we're
I
getting
had to
new
remember today,
content.
too.
Like, come
It's
on
just-
now.
it's
Let's
wild
get
to think
pumped. Let's get pumped.
We shouldn't be getting new content, but we are. It's so exciting. My brother had to remind me like 2 or 3 days ago. He was like, "Hey, Star Wars Visions is coming out next week," and I was like, "It is? Oh, it is!" So
Yeah.
I'm just super excited about it. And
Yeah, me too.
I'm not an anime guy.
Well, and I think some initial viewings have occurred. Like, I think some people have gotten
Yes.
early access, and everything
Well,
I've seen so
there was
far
a-
have been very positive.
Yeah, and there was a manga that was released, a book that was
Mhm.
released to kind of, it was like a prequel to some of the stories, at least one story for sure I know of.
Sure, yeah.
And I have not read anything about those. I'm trying to go into this thing as blind as I possibly can. So for me, it's just like, okay, we have little teases. And you mentioned there's already been some viewing, which is great.
Mhm.
It's helpful.
Mhm.
Fantastic stuff.
Mhm.
So it's just one more thing to look forward to.
Absolutely. Well, let's share some Star Wars Visions details, shall we? Number 1.
Do it.
Expect the episodes to vary in length from 13 to 22 minutes. Now, let's just pause there. We're going to go from detail to detail. Let's pause there and just focus in on that for a second. Is that length okay with us is what we're going to debate, or not debate. I don't know what your take is on this. I'm okay with it. I'm very happy with 13 to 22 minutes. I think that's going to be the appropriate length. I think it's going to be just enough to make me want to keep watching the next episode and the next episode and the next episode, because don't forget that this is all coming out at once. Every single one of these short stories is dropping simultaneously. So it's not like, oh, it's only 13 minutes and I got to wait another full week to see the next one. It's not like that this go around. We are getting every single one of them. So for me, I'm actually kind of excited because that means I get to binge. I can probably binge every single episode of this in one sitting. At least that's my goal. Now, with that said, if I feel myself getting tired, I'll probably pause because I want to make sure I give everything I've got to Star Wars Visions. But I think I'm going to be able to succeed in that goal with it being 13 to 22 minutes. DJ, what do you got on this time slot? Does that make you happy? Does it bother you, or you're just good with it?
No, and it doesn't bother me whatsoever. I think it's a perfect
Good.
length.
Good.
It's perfectly acceptable, given the way that anime typically goes. Now, I've said, even on this episode, I've said in past episodes, while I'm not an anime fan, generally speaking, I have watched some anime. I've watched, I don't know if it really counts as anime because some people are like, no, that's not anime. Like, I remember back in the day watching a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't know if that's considered anime or not, but like some people do, some people don't. I understand that, kind of causing maybe some rifts there. But one thing that I do remember watching a long time ago was Full Metal Alchemist. I thought that was a really cool show. I watched the very first episode of that when I was in high school about 400 years ago. And I thought that it was really, really cool. And I never continued watching it because I watched it at a friend's house. So it was a one and done kind of situation for me.
Mhm.
So knowing what I know about anime, these types of shows are typically 13 to 22 minutes anyway.
Right.
So
It
that
fits.
doesn't bother. Yeah. And honestly, you watching like reruns of The Office or Parks and Rec, those are all like 22 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, so I think, sorry, DJ, I think we're losing you for a second. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of
Doing
take the
test,
wheels on
so-
this for a second. With
Oh, no.
Visions, you're good. I'll just keep going until you catch back up. With Visions, we did get also a official list of heroes and villains come out from StarWars.com. We got Kara from the Ninth Jedi. This is the heroes list. We also got Care from the twins. I hope I'm saying that character right. We got Dan from the Elder. We got F from the Village Bride. And we got Ronan from the Duel. Now, again, on StarWars.com, it specifically goes into detail with that, but it does kind of give a spoiler warning because I know some people like to go into shows completely without knowing anything. So with that said, I didn't want to, dive into the specific details of each character, but just to let you know that list is out there. We also got a villains list. We got the Elder from the Elder. We got Am from the twins. We got Masago from, I'm going to mess this word up probably, a Kakari? I don't know, maybe. Sith Bandit leader from the Duel, and the Inquisitor from TOB1. So, and I also think today they released a droids list, but I just didn't have enough time to get into the notes. So with that said, DJ is back, and we got tons of Visions details to discuss. So what do you think of the heroes list, the villains, the droids? What do you think about Visions just in general?
Sorry I lagged out.
You're good.
Maybe I should invest in an Ethernet cable. I don't know. But no, I'm very excited about this. Back on the duration, I think the duration's perfectly fine. As far as this list of villains and characters go, the one I'm most excited for is Ronan from the Duel.
Oh yeah, good call.
I'm excited specifically about that episode because if my knowledge is correct, that's the one that looks like super hyper realistic. And I want to watch that one so bad. Plus, I like samurai films. So I'm hoping this has a very samurai film, Seven Samurai type feel to it. And I'm hoping that works out that way. But as far as the rest of these go, I mean, I can't say I'm attached to anybody because I haven't met anybody. So I don't know.
True. Yeah, and I can't wait, and I skipped over reading the descriptions because I came to the decision of, look, I kind of want to go into Visions completely blank. So I didn't read that article, but again, it's out there. If you just go to StarWars.com, and it's there. I think it's got 3 articles now because, again, I think they released a droids one. If not today, it was yesterday. So go to that if you want to read up on these characters beforehand. But like I said, I want to go in completely clean and completely blank. Okay, next news piece is a new one. This is breaking news. Not really breaking news, but it broke today. It broke today that Sung Kang, he is from the Fast and Furious franchise, among other things. That's what I know him most from. He confirms that his character will, in fact, be using a lightsaber. Now, not only does this excite me, but number 2, this kind of, in a sense, almost verifies that Inquisitor rumor that came out a couple months ago, at least in my opinion. I'm not going to go as far as saying that it's going to be the specific Inquisitor that rumor said a couple months ago, which I believe was the 5th brother. But I do think if he's got a lightsaber, and I might be biased, I think it's going to be Inquisitor. What do you think, DJ?
Well, it's not been confirmed that he's an Inquisitor.
Right.
So until otherwise proven, I'm going to say he's a light side guy. I want him to be like a Jedi we've never met before.
Okay.
And then like he dies via Vader, because in the interview he gave, he does mention Darth Vader.
Right.
And he mentioned seeing Darth Vader on set.
Sure.
So
because he's working for him.
That,
but continue.
maybe, or he's being murdered by him. But it's okay either way for me. I love him in Fast and Furious, the franchise as a whole. Han's just a fun character. He's always hanging out eating chips, that's pretty much most of my personality. I'm usually just hanging out eating chips, and my wife will confirm that. But at the same time, I think it's really cool that we've gotten some more confirmation of sorts for Kenobi. And he's using a lightsaber, and I couldn't be happier about lightsabers.
Yeah,
it makes me happy.
Like I said, I really do. I really do hope that it is, in fact, the Inquisitor role. Only because I've voiced this before. I know this is not new information for our diehard podcast listeners here. Rebels, for me, is so good, and I am dying to finally see a live-action Inquisitor. Like, give it to me, please.
Should I do it? Should I say it?
What do you have to say? What you got?
Zach Horvath, watch Rebels.
There you go. Hey, anytime.
man.
I don't know if he has yet. We need an update, Zach. If you're still with us
Zach,
live,
if
tell
you're
us
with
in the
us,
chat.
We need to know. Yeah, we need to
But
know ASAP.
regardless, I do really hope that he's an Inquisitor, but I don't have my, like I always say, I don't want expectations to be super high, so I don't have that set in stone. But that is my expectation right now, is that he will, in fact, be playing an Inquisitor role. Anything else you would like to add to that before we move forward?
Not a thing.
All right, next news piece, we got franchise movie news. What? Star Wars isn't just television? We got movie news. Disney revealed their upcoming movie slate for their major tentpole films. And of course, in that slate, they revealed the Star Wars releases. In those Star Wars releases, we've got the following 3 dates. Obviously, Rogue One is the one that's coming first. We know the most about that film. We got a December 22nd, 2023 release date for Rogue Squadron. That's the first one. Second one, we've got a December 19th, 2025 Untitled Star Wars release. We'll talk in a minute who I think could be involved with that film. The third one is December 17th, 2027, and is yet again another Untitled Star Wars film. So let me pause there. How do we feel about the 2-year gap between all of those films?
Not an issue for me.
Good.
The prequel trilogy and the original trilogy had 3-year gaps between them. I honestly wish that the sequel trilogy and all those other films had more gaps in there as well for just, flushing out all those nitty gritty details, make it all work as best it can. So 2 year, no problem with me. 2 years, I can wait 2 years. That's fine.
Well, and don't forget too that in those 2 years, I guarantee you they're going to have Disney Plus content coming out as well. So we will still feel very much like we're getting that yearly Star Wars content. So I just second that take. So I think we can kind of skip over the next question because I think we answered it. Is getting only 3 Star Wars films in 6 years a bummer? For me, it's not, because like we just mentioned, we're getting some Disney Plus content in between, expectedly at least. Now, my next question gets to kind of that idea that I teased. In my opinion, I think the 2025 film is going to be Taika Waititi's directed film. And I think the 2027 film is going to be the Kevin Feige produced, because we haven't gotten confirmation on anything else except that Rian Johnson trilogy that I don't know if we'll ever see happen, if I'm being completely honest.
No.
So those are the 2 people that I think are involved with those untitled films. Would you agree with that take?
I think Taika's is 2025, and I think Feige's is 2027.
Okay.
I also would just like to add, because you brought it up, they're too scared to say anything about that Rian Johnson trilogy, because the second they do, the internet's going to explode, and it's so much safer just to say nothing. It just, it's like that old phrase your mom used to tell you, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And I think that's kind of what Lucasfilm is doing with the Rian Johnson thing. But we're not talking about Rian Johnson.
I mean, we
about
could.
Feige. We could. Oh, I could talk about Rian Johnson. Not that I have just this terrible opinion of the guy, but because I don't. But at the same time, we're talking about Taika. We're talking about Feige. Taika's coming 2025. I think Feige's is 2027. If that's not the case, Feige's producing Taika's. And then this other one's just kind of out there.
And I did think that initially, but I think we've gotten confirmation now from Feige that he hasn't even started working on his film yet.
That's right.
But Taika
Taika
has voiced that I'm in the writing process and all of these different things. So with that in mind, I do think they will be separate. Now, don't forget there's also like that it never got confirmed. J.D. Dillard directed like Exegol type kind of film that was out there. I don't think that's it though. I don't think that's going to be one of those releases. Final question though that I have for this: are these films going to be connected in any way? And I'm just going to go ahead and put my answer in. Other than them being in the Star Wars galaxy, I don't think there's any story threads connecting these 3 films. Would you agree or do you disagree?
I was like a 50% agree, disagree.
Okay.
Does that count? Is that
Sure.
a thing?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go with it. I would like to see them connected. I think, with these are 3 movies set 2 years apart. That's kind of what the sequel trilogy did.
Sure.
Technically, it was technically 2 years apart. I think Lucasfilm had too much on their plate at the time, but that's a different topic for a different day. I would like to see them connected, but for now, I'm going to go with they're connected. Why not? We don't know, so let's just go with they're connected. I think.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
but I was
you're
just
fine.
going to say, I was just going to say, I think you said you want them to be connected.
I do.
I don't.
I do want them to be connected.
I don't want them connected.
But why don't
and
you?
Here's why. Only because I know that Taika Waititi creates like these crazy films, and I want it to be its complete own thing. Like I don't want, because again, as soon as Taika Waititi makes his crazy film, people are going to be like, oh, that doesn't connect with. If it connects to Rogue Squadron, they're going to say, oh, it doesn't connect with Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron, and we're back in that Rian Johnson mess, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
So I want them like just these own kind of stories, dive into, make it feel like a big galaxy, because it is a big galaxy.
That's true.
And use this as an opportunity to do something different. Don't make a trilogy. Do something just completely, something that we've never seen before. That's what really excites me, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with the take, but just for the sake of my argument there, I would go with saying I want them to be connected for a lot of different reasons. I think it'd just be fun to have a connection, some more. Like, it doesn't have to be all connected to like Rey or Luke or Anakin. It can be a connective thing out there somewhere else. And bear in mind, and this is what I was going to say a second ago, but bear in mind that Taika has worked with other directors with Mandalorian.
True.
And we also have to bear in mind he's worked with Marvel, and he's working with Marvel currently. So we have to keep in mind that this is a guy who knows how to not step on other people's toes.
Good point. That's a very good point.
So I think that he would be great. I think it'd be great to have a connective thing. I'm not saying you're wrong and I'm right and that's it, because that's not at all what it is.
Right.
I'm just saying I want to see them connected. I think it's very possible that they could be connected.
Okay,
And
so
if it
I think
doesn't work
maybe
out that
when
way, that's fine.
I think maybe when I hear the word connected in the Star Wars galaxy is just automatic trilogy. But in the case of what you're presenting as far as like Taika Waititi's connection with Marvel, I mean, it could be, Guardians of the Galaxy is connected to the first Avengers, and you just don't know it, really. I mean, it's all in the same universe, and yet here we are, and now they feel connected in some way. I think that's very capable and very possible. I think for me, as soon as I just hear connected in the Star Wars franchise, I just think trilogy. And maybe I just don't want to see a trilogy format, but it would be cool to see the connections between the films across, whatever storyline they decide to go with.
And Royal Farm Boy's hanging out with us still, and he gives us a very sobering reminder. It's not about
true.
what we want.
Yeah.
He says, just tell us a Star Wars story. And
Fair
you're right.
enough.
You're right, sir. You're very right. But at the same time, I want it my way. I'm just gonna be a little child here for a second. I want it my way. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. And here's the thing: I'm not gonna be all butthurt whenever it doesn't go my way. I'll get over it. I'm a big boy. I got my big boy britches on. And for those of you who don't know what britches are, that's pants in Texan. Okay. I've got my trousers, Blue Harvest bricks. I can live with it. It's fine. It's no big deal. But you're right, sir. Very correct. No issue there.
Right. Agree. And I agree with that take. Okay. Our title of our episode this week is Pure Speculation. So DJ sent this idea as far as a topic goes to me earlier this week, and I absolutely love having these conversations, so let's have this conversation. So around this time a year ago, we got our first Mandalorian Season 2 trailer. It was officially released. So not 1 year ago to the day, but it has been at this point 365 days. Yes. So with that said, obviously we are getting the Book of Boba Fett toward the end of this year. In fact, it is going to be in the month of December. So, putting our tinfoil caps, our speculation vibes, if you will, let's think about this for a moment. Does that mean, and we can just ask the question that is literally in the title of this episode, does that mean that a Book of Boba Fett trailer is imminent? I guess, do you want me to give my answer first? I can give my answer first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think because we got to keep in mind that The Mandalorian Season 2 came out late October, while the Book of Boba Fett is coming out late to mid-December. I think that gives a month and a half away from a trailer coming from the Book of Boba Fett still. I think they're going to keep that whole idea of, it was a month and a half before Season 2 of The Mandalorian that we finally got our first trailer. I think we've kind of gotten to that point in fandom where we don't need trailers way out of the release date. I think they can really wait until 2 months before or a month before. Maybe that's pushing it for me personally. But, again, it's not about what we want. It's about what's best for the franchise, right? We've discovered that tonight. So those are my thoughts. I think we're still a couple months away, if I'm being completely honest. I know me and Zach originally said you're getting it on the first Monday Night Football game. Well, we missed that. That was a couple of days ago, and it did not happen. But I say all that again. I think we're still a month and a half to 2 months, probably a month and a half to 2 months away from a trailer. What do you think then?
I would like to think it'll premiere in the next few weeks. Premiering as in a trailer, by few weeks, at minimum 3 weeks from now. Mm-hmm. I would like to believe that. Traditionally, when a Star Wars project is releasing in December, we do get a trailer in October, and I specifically mention that because it is that time of year where these kinds of December winter type trailers start rolling out quite a bit, especially for things like Star Wars and Marvel. Those kinds of things usually roll out around this time of the year. Mm-hmm. And that's partly, I think, due to toys for Christmas, which is fair. That's part of the machine, as we know. But and I very specifically remember being on my honeymoon in 2017, and I told my family, "Hey, don't text me. I'm just gonna hang out with Hillary, and we're gonna do our thing." But I got a text from both my dad and my sister, and they were like, "Hey, we know you're busy, but a trailer just dropped." And I was like, Ooh. It did? And so I was like, I looked at my wife, and I was like, my wife of like 2 or 3 days. And I said, "Hey, you cool if I watch this trailer real quick?" She goes, "Yeah, I'll watch it with you." And I was like, married the right one. So I pull out my phone, I watch the trailer, and it was for Last Jedi. So I was like, oh, sweet. But that was the first one with, Luke being all depressed and
Sure.
Time for the Jedi to end, and I was like, I don't like this trailer, and so I was in a weird mood the rest of the day when that dropped. But all that to say, trailers typically come out late September, early October. Mm-hmm. I think we'll get one before the end of October, just because. If at the latest the end of October, but hopefully mid-October on a Monday Night Football game is what I most likely expect, because that was the Last Jedi trailer dropped on a Monday Night Football game. Yeah. So it makes the most sense. ESPN, Disney, they're all one thing, So if that continues that way, that's perfect for me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
You make a good point. I think maybe 2 months, my initial range of 2 months, I think 2 months is too high. For some reason, I'm just now realizing it's mid-September. Like, I don't think we can wait until, what's that, mid-November? No, I think
I don't want to wait till mid-November.
I think it's coming out before that. And to support that, something else that we talked about discussing was, are we getting this trailer before Disney Plus Day, which is in mid-November? And my answer to that, I was going to say, yes, we're definitely getting it before Disney Plus Day, because I think that Star Wars has way too many other projects that they got to start informing the audience about on Disney Plus Day, to where they need to go ahead and have Book of Boba Fett out there and about. And then just on Disney Plus Day, they can say, okay, and in a month you get to see the next great Star Wars show. And really, that's all they'll need to do as far as promoting that thing. So I guess I need to go back on my original statement and say, like you, maybe 3 weeks to a month and a half at most. A month and a half at most is kind of where I'm now sitting. You've convinced me.
That's not based on anything other than that's what we've received in the past, And I genuinely do appreciate Rural Farm Boy coming in here. It's like, hey, just don't worry about it, And you're right. I don't need to worry about it. And truth be told,
we're just having fun. No, I'm not worried about it at all.
I just want to speculate and think, it's it's got to be here sometime in October.
Sure.
And that's actually what I wrote in my show notes. I was like, yeah, it's coming before Disney Plus Day sometime in October.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, if they hold out until November 11th, yeah, November 11th, you know, which will be right around Mando Talks 100th episode. I want to throw that in there. Just as a, you know, I don't know if that's a tease. This is more like a, hey, we're almost to 100.
We're almost there, and we're also almost to 100 subscribers.
Yeah, quick plug on that. We're 10 subscribers away from meeting our goal of getting to 100 before the Book of Boba Fett premieres in December, which we're going to get there. We're going to get there. I can feel it. It's happening. And so those 90 of you who are out there subscribed to us, start telling some folks. Keep telling people. You see some lady at the grocery store, tell her. I don't even know what YouTube is. Well, tell her anyway, you know. But anyway, back to this at hand. October would be my hope and my guess.
Okay. Now, to Rural Farm Boy's point, though, I'm showing up to the show regardless, excited. They could wait until they could not release a trailer at all, and I'm there, and I'm excited, 100% ready to go.
That would be really cool, though. And I think we talked about that on Geekverse. Another quick plug for our Tuesday show for Geekverse reactions. Until, you know, Book of Boba Fett premieres, we'll take a game off and all that fun stuff. But all that to say, you know, we talked about this if the Spider-Man trailer just never released.
Right.
And of course it finally did release. It just took a minute. And it was a really good trailer. Like, it was a fantastic trailer. As far as trailers go, it gave us a lot. And I think that a Book of Boba Fett trailer, if they don't release it until November, let me just say this. If they don't release it until November, they are holding on to it for very specific reasons.
And probably good reasons.
And very good reasons. I mean, I still am in the camp of we're going to get a live action Omega. I don't know if I've actually said that on the show.
No, I think you have. I think you have.
I have. Okay. I didn't know if that was just a Twitter thing I said or not. I think we will get a live action Omega, and I think that's wild to speculate about, but I'm going to throw it out there. I mean, Fennec Shand was in Bad Batch. Why? It just
connections really is really all.
No, tinfoil hat. Omega's in Omega's in Book of Boba Fett, but I mean she's not. It's not a deal breaker.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, I mean, it's just whatever.
All right. Well,
I'm just here for the ride.
It sounds like we have come to an agreement that we expect to see something about Book of Boba Fett within 3 weeks to, let's go with 8 weeks. That's 2 months. I'm again going to the 2 months train. 3 weeks to
3 to 6.
6. Yes.
3 to 6 weeks.
We're right there again. 6. We're right there
again. It's a solid time frame.
Yeah.
You can get a lot done in 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think I could edit a TV show trailer in 3 to 6 weeks. I could probably do it in 3 days, just to be honest.
Hey.
Quick, I say that in confidence because I did study broadcasting for 2 years in college.
There you go.
Before switching my major. And I still do a lot of video editing with my job here at the church. So I feel like I could turn out something pretty quick if I'm being real honest. So at the same, and I know they hold on to these things forever because they can. That's kind of what it comes down to.
Absolutely. Well, listen, if you are out there, let us know, when should we expect to see the Book of Boba Fett's first trailer drop? Let us know in the comments, in the chat, or over on Discord. We've got one final thing to discuss for this week's episode, and that is just kind of what I did again was just grouped some things here. We got some gaming news, we got some comic, novel, and Legends news. What I like to do is kind of group all of those together because those are usually, you know, the things that not everyone notices or really dives deep into, but we want to keep our audience informed. So the first thing that happened was a Star Wars Hunter actually released a new trailer. So this is the upcoming Nintendo Switch and Android and Apple game. I believe it's coming out next year. The trailer that it dropped was not gameplay trailer. It was a cinematic trailer, so we don't know what the game is going to really look like or feel like or play like. So with that said, it didn't really do much for me other than just kind of set up the vibes, because I don't really like, or I like them, I like watching them, but I can't take anything away from cinematic trailers for a game because that doesn't tell you anything how the game is going to be. But Did you check out that Star Wars Hunters trailer?
I did watch it today.
Did it pique your interest any?
Only in the sense of, so I've got how old is he now? I've got a 13-year-old brother, and he just turned 13. I forgot how old he was. But I got a 13-year-old brother, and he plays Fortnite. So, like, this game, first of all, gave me Fortnite vibes.
Uh-huh.
And depending on your opinion of Fortnite, you know, it could be a lackluster kind of situation. Having played Fortnite, because I have a 13-year-old brother and I like to hang out with him sometimes, or I like to hang out with him in general. But the fact that it reminded me of that kind of reminded me of what he would be into.
Uh-huh.
So I think the age range for this is not meant for people my age or your age, or even probably older.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a preteen, teenage type game, kids game. I mean, it looks like it's a lot of fun. And, you know, will I pick it up or play it? If someone has it and I just happen to be near their phone or a Switch or whatever, I'll play it. It's not like a Battlefront. It's not a Fallen Order, you know. So for me,
or KOTOR,
or Knights of the Republic, because man, I still have to start saving money for that thing.
Yeah,
but
I think everyone in the Star Wars community that does not have a PlayStation 5 is wanting to save up for that.
It was as if millions of voices cried out in terror.
Exactly.
There was a disturbance in the force.
Exactly.
But, yeah, it looked good, you know, for a kid, and I don't think I will probably play it unless someone's like, "Hey, have you seen this?" I'm like, "Oh no, I haven't played it," you know, kind of thing. So we'll see.
All right. Well, next thing we got a book here. We've got The Art of Star Wars: The Mandalorian Season 2 is coming in December. This is something that really I would love to get into. I would like to start getting into looking at art books that they put out, especially with The Mandalorian. But usually the price tag, I can't really ever. I think it's usually like around $50. I don't really just drop $50 whenever I can usually see these images online somewhere. But I know a lot of people are big into these art of collections that Star Wars and Lucasfilm pump out with their projects. So really cool. The cover looks great. Cover art is phenomenal. It's got, you know, Grogu touching Din's helmet, which of course, you know, gets you emotional immediately. DJ, what are your thoughts on the art of The Mandalorian Season 2?
I know there's a lot of people who collect these and love them, and I've been to like Barnes and Noble or other big bookstores and kind of picked some up and looked at them. I've never purchased one because, like you said, you know, it's kind of pricey for a book, but I understand the work that goes into it. And I'm not like the biggest book guy, and I like to read some Star Wars things and other things that are more job related for me. But beyond that, you know, I'm not a big book guy.
Agreed.
So, you know, I'm not going to go out of my way and get this. Now, I remember on my first time on Mando Talk, Jacob, your brother, was on the show, and he mentioned kind of doing a little bit of drawing. Does he still do that?
Yes.
Is he?
He's fascinated by stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you think he would pick it up?
No. See, Jacob keeps his money in his pocket. He's very just, you know, down to earth. Like, he doesn't need a whole lot of things. He's just chill, you know. That's how I define Jacob. He's chill.
Well, that's very accurate. Having spent just a tiny bit of time with him and you and the other guys back in the day, you know, I picked up on that. He seemed like a pretty cool dude anyway, but at the same time, I was just curious because I knew like he kind of represents, I feel like that section of Mando Talk, being that guy.
And he loves that stuff. Don't get me wrong, but he like me, he just won't get himself to spend that much money to check it out. What he would like, this is what Jacob would like to happen. He would like for me to go buy it, and so when he comes over to just look through it.
That's a little brother right there.
Well, no, he's older than me.
Oh, he's older than you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So then you're the little brother.
I'm the little bro.
He's taking away your stuff. That is an older brother move, I will admit.
Pretty much.
Well, it is what it is on that kind of stuff. I will say though that even though I won't be picking this up unless someone's like, "Hey, I got you this. I thought you'd like it."
Let me give you a big hug.
That would be really cool. You know, and maybe there's like a digital copy I
Yeah.
don't know. There could be, but I'm not probably gonna pick this up. But I will say that big fan of like the artwork side of things. Ralph McQuarrie and Doug Chang and all those other artists. That's a lot of work they put in, and to have that in a book and to sell to fans is really cool.
Yeah, so go check it out for those of you that are interested in those things. This next one, of course, I've voiced this before, gets me really excited. The third wave of the Legends Essential collection has released, which has the second and the third novels in the Thrawn trilogy. I have yet to get it, only because initially I like actually going to the store and finding it. That just gives me excitement. I don't know why. I guess I'm OG in that way. I don't really want to just go to Amazon and click ship to me now or whatever. I want to actually find the thing. So I have yet to pick those up, but I can't wait to finally read. I think it's Dark Force Rising is the second one, and I think The Last Command is the third one. And I also think that they released Darth Bane's sequel in this collection.
Okay.
And I want to say they released the Rogue Squadron novel in this collection, but that is all off the cuff. I know if those two weren't released in this wave, they're coming eventually because I saw it on the list.
Right.
But regardless, great thing seeing the Legends Essential collection continue to pump out. DJ, do you have anything you want to add to that before we have one more thing to let our listeners be aware of?
Just that, as you've discussed in the past, these things are tying into canon material, and it's no longer a hope or a thought or a presumption. It's happening.
Yeah.
These things, they wouldn't necessarily churn out all this old stuff. And I say old stuff, I don't mean it derogatorily. I mean it to say this is older material. They wouldn't churn all this stuff out if it didn't have a greater purpose.
Yep.
And that's something I think we need to keep in mind. And Caleb, you convinced me of that a few weeks ago when we talked about this before. So, I think it's great they're rolling all this stuff out. I'm in a Legends limbo right now. I've totally put all that to the side for the time being. And I need to, eventually I'll jump back into some of this Legend stuff, especially Darth Plagueis, which is what I've got on the shelf right now. Ready
Good call.
To read.
I've heard good things about that one, but I haven't read that one either.
Yeah, and I've heard good things about Rogue Squadron, like you mentioned, the novel, and a lot of people have been asking if Patty Jenkins has referenced any of that for her film, and I believe she says yes, we've had access to the material and looked at it.
She has very much so teased that she looked at it and she took it into heavy consideration as she was making her story.
I don't think she really had a choice, but at the same time, I really, as a fan, and I know the Legends fans, we all are really appreciative of things like that. It's nice to know that creatives will listen to us in those respects, not like we're making demands, because I think we're kind of past the point where people have been making demands about Legends material, but at the same time, it's all good if they keep doing that. I think it's fantastic.
All right, well, fair enough. Let's get to the last one here. We've got Star Wars Insider releases the Legends Collection Volume 2. This is news to me. You sent a link about this to me, and honestly, I don't know what's going on with this. So DJ, let me in. Tell me, what is this?
Well, I'll go over it real quick. It's very random, I feel like, but it mixes in very well with this Legends Essential stuff that kind of keeps coming out.
Okay.
So first of all, Star Wars Insider is a magazine produced by, what was it? Titan Magazines, Titan Comics.
Okay.
And so they kind of do this, off-site. So this information I'm about to share comes via Star Wars Newsnet.
Okay.
And which from there came via Star Wars Insider magazine. So go look at all of those things. But basically what it is essentially we have just a collection of short stories from Legends and current canon of Star Wars that are basically just being reprinted. In fact, I'm going to read a direct quote from the Star Wars Newsnet article.
Okay.
It says Titan Magazines is it's parent company of Star Wars Insider, and they released a statement saying a collection of exciting short stories. This is where the quote begins. A collection of exciting short stories featuring tales that will take you from the Battle of Endor to the desolate world of Jakku. The stories, which cover both legends and tales that fit in with current Star Wars continuity, feature popular characters such as Hondo Ohnaka, Lando Calrissian, Asajj Ventress, and, of course, our great Princess Leia. Written by Renee... Alexander Freed, David J. Williams, and of course, this volume also includes some stunning artwork from other. So really what we have here is just something, at the end of the day, they just kind of tie back into things like we've been saying all along, like we just talked about. These legend stories are becoming more and more relevant and more important to both old fans and new. They're giving us these things so that we can be prepared for whatever's coming next, which to a certain degree, I think maybe could play into Taika Waititi's films, or film, I should say, not films. He only has one thus far. And also Kevin Feige's, and anything else that may be coming out one of these days. So I really think that with these things, it's just something like, hey, it's just a little bit more story. It's a little bit like Visions. It's a little bit like these Legends Essentials. They're just throwing them in there. They don't necessarily have to fit within the canon, but some of them do. And I think that's great. It's exciting. It's just fantastic and fun information that's going to continue to kind of tickle the fancy, if you will, and get us to a point where it's like, wow, I'm really glad I know all this information because it helped me when I watched X movie, whatever that is. Sure. So that's really, at the end of the day, that's all it really is.
Okay.
But it's still exciting nonetheless because it's Star Wars content.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is what it is.
And that's what we are all about here at Mando Talk, is covering all said Star Wars content. And we love doing that here. Every single Thursday night, we are live at now. We are making this official at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are going live to discuss all Star Wars news, content, spoilers, discussions, theories, speculation, all sorts of craziness every single Thursday at 7 p.m. Subscribe if you have not done so on YouTube so you can check that out live. But again, we will always be podcast platforms. You can watch us on the YouTube playback if you can't catch us live. So not a big deal. You're not missing out, but we would love to just interact with you live. That's really fun. So if you want to interact with us live, again, check us out live. But also on top of that, on our YouTube channel, we also take a break from Star Wars every Tuesday night, again at 7 p.m. moving forward. We will talk about our new show, which is Geekverse Reactions, where we talk about Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, Indiana Jones, Game of Thrones, all of the different just stuff outside of the Star Wars lane that us geeks love, and we love to talk about it. So again, a lot of things going on over on YouTube, and I can't wait to continue to do it. And to continue to do it with me will be DJ at Rebel Scum Texan, and I appreciate you being here yet again this week. Anything you would like to say to our lovely audience before we get out of here?
Thank you to everybody that chimed in tonight in the live chat. If you're listening to us over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, other podcast networks, whatever those things are, let us know what podcast apps we're on. Because to my knowledge, I only know that we're on Apple and Spotify. So there's probably
we're elsewhere. We're elsewhere.
We're elsewhere.
Yeah,
Let us know where you're listening from. Let us know how you found us, because that'll make us really excited. Because right now, I mentioned to somebody today, we're everywhere from Tennessee to the UK and from Texas down to Costa Rica.
Baby.
We've got some folks down there listening, so we're all over the place. So let us know how you found us. I mean, if you want to follow me, it's right underneath my screen at Rebel Scum Texan on the Twitter. You can hit me up on the Bird app. And by the way, did you know that if you look at the Twitter bird and turn it sideways, it looks like Batman?
I did not know that. I'm gonna have to do that here in a second.
You'll have to look at it and turn it, and you'll be like, you'll never see the Twitter bird the same way. The beak is the bat ears. It's hilarious. Other than that, instead of my normal send off, instead of you could still do this. Instead of telling your mama you love her, tell your sister you love her. If you've got a sister. That's a shout out again to my little sister Savannah. Again, happy birthday, little sis. And that's all I got to say. Tell your sister you love her.
Fair enough. Well, listen, let's get out of here. We can't wait to have you back on Tuesday when we do our Geekverse reactions, but yet again a week from today for some more Star Wars and Mando talk. But until that time, let's get out of here. And as always, we have spoken.